In the deepest rural roads of Brazil, there are places that feel unfinished, places where shapes exist, without being complete. They say that if you drive far enough into the interior, past the last city lights, past even the faintest glow on the horizon, you'll find roads that don't just lead somewhere, they lead sometime. Back to an older world, where folklore isn't just a story, it's a living presence walking beside you in the dark. These are the forgotten paths, shrouded in dense, cinematic fog, where the moonlight struggles to pierce the canopy of ancient forests. It's here, in this atmospheric, almost dreamlike setting, that you might feel a shift in the air, a sudden stillness. It's a feeling that you are no longer alone, but the presence isn't human. In the distance, a familiar shape emerges from the mist, something you recognize instantly. A horse. But as it draws nearer, a profound sense of wrongness settles in. Something is missing. The shape is incomplete. It's a horse-shaped body, standing patiently in the distance, but the neck area ends in empty space. There is no head. There is no face. Not even a skull or a grotesque replacement. There is only fire, a supernatural soft flame floating calmly where a head and face should exist. This isn't the fire of destruction. It's a quiet, contained light, a ghostly beacon in the oppressive darkness. It illuminates the mist around it, casting an eerie, gentle glow on the creature's powerful form. It doesn't flicker wildly or rage. It simply is. A steady, inexplicable flame suspended in the air, a silent testament to a supernatural event. The emptiness below it is absolute, a void where life should be centered. This isn't a wound. It's an absence. This creature is the Mulesem Quebeca, the headless mule of Brazilian legend, a figure born not of violence, but of a different kind of breaking. This is not an injury. This is not decay or the aftermath of some terrible violence. It is a supernatural absence, a fundamental part of its being. The creature stands with a calm, almost serene posture, its movements slow and deliberate. Its fur is realistic. You can almost feel its texture, but the void where its head should be defies all logic. The creature is not in pain. It is not monstrous in the way we typically imagine monsters. It is something else entirely, a being defined by what isn't there. It represents a law of nature that has been bent, a reality that has been rewritten. Its very existence is a quiet paradox, a peaceful horror that doesn't need to snarl or attack to unsettle you to your very core. It simply moves through the night, a living piece of impossible folklore. The legend, as it's told in old Brazilian colonial villages, speaks of a time long past. Imagine these villages at night, with their simple wooden houses lit only by the flickering glow of oil lamps, the streets cloaked in a thick, rolling fog. It was in a place like this that a forbidden love story unfolded, one that broke a sacred boundary. A woman, perhaps a priest's lover, committed an act deemed unforgivable by ancient traditions, but her punishment was not death. It was something far stranger, far more enduring. Instead of death, there was transformation. She was cursed to become this creature, erased from herself, her identity, her very face, replaced by a constant burning mark of her transgression. She became the mule, destined to wander the rural landscapes from Thursday night to Friday morning. But the headless mule does not attack. It does not chase. It is not a predator hunting for victims. It simply exists, and the forest makes room for it. As it walks slowly through the trees, the fire floating in place of its head casts a soft orange light, a moving lantern that reflects on the ancient bark and damp leaves. The woods don't recoil from it. The animals don't flee in terror. It's as if nature itself understands that this creature is a part of the landscape, a sorrowful fixture of the night. It is a silent wanderer on a path of penance, not a monster on a path of vengeance. Its presence is a quiet one, a solitary journey through the darkness, a constant reminder of a story that the land itself has never forgotten. Its sound is not the thundering of rage. It is not the warning of imminent danger. The sound it makes is one of distance, moving through silence. The slow, rhythmic clopping of hooves on the soft dirt of the forest floor. Sometimes it's said you can hear the faint clinking of iron chains it drags behind it, a symbol of its eternal burden. But these sounds are not meant to frighten. They are simply the sounds of its passage, of its unending pilgrimage. It moves with a grace that contradicts its horrifying form, its hooves touching the earth with a strange gentleness. In the deep quiet of the rural night, the sound of its approach is the sound of a story drawing near, a living legend making its way through the world of mortals. They say it appears to those who carry regret, to those who feel watched by their own memories. The mule appears before people who are grappling with their own mistakes, their own secrets. It doesn't come to harm them. It only comes to be seen. Villagers in the old tailies would peer through their windows, their faces a mixture of fear and a strange, somber calm. They weren't watching a beast of destruction. They were witnessing a soul in penance. Seeing the mule was a reminder, a moment of reflection. Its appearance was a sign, a supernatural encounter that forces you to look inward, to confront the parts of yourself you keep hidden in the dark. It is a mirror, reflecting not your face, but the state of your soul. The fire does not burn. It guides. This is perhaps the most misunderstood part of the legend. The flame that floats where a hedge should be is not an instrument of destruction. It does not set the forest ablaze or scorch the ground it passes over. It is a light. It marks a presence, illuminating the path for a being that has no eyes. It's a symbol of a curse, yes, but also of a strange, lonely consciousness. As the mule walks, its ethereal light gently touches the tall grass and old wooden fences, casting long, dancing shadows. It is a cold fire, a fire of the soul, its purpose not to consume but to signify. It is the mule's unblinking, unending awareness. And then, as dawn approaches, the curse lifts. At sunrise, there are no monsters. Only warm earth where its hooves had been, and a profound silence that feels remembered. The air grows still, the mists begin to rise, and the world returns to normal. The only evidence of its passage might be the faint tracks left on the dirt road, or the lingering feeling that you witnessed something ancient and sacred. The terror of the night gives way to the peace of the morning. The mule has completed its weekly penance and vanished, leaving behind only the story, waiting for the next Thursday night to be told and lived again. The silence it leaves behind is heavy with memory, with the weight of a story that is as old as the hills themselves. The mule may be gone, but its presence lingers, especially around the old, abandoned stone churches, often covered in fog, that dot the Brazilian countryside. These are the places where the sacred and the profane meet, where the story of the mule was born. And so, the question is not if the mule truly exists. For those who live in these remote places, its reality is taken for granted. The real question is why silence still walks with fire. Why does this penance continue, century after century? What does its endless wandering truly signify? Is it a warning? A lesson? Or is it simply a sad, beautiful piece of the world's mystery? A story written into the very land we walk on. The creature needs no eyes to see. It needs no mouth to speak. It stands in silhouette, its headless form looking towards you, the floating flame stable and unwavering. The fire is its voice, a silent declaration of its existence and its curse. The emptiness beneath the flame, that is its story. It is a being of pure symbolism, a walking, breathing metaphor for sin, penance, and a strange form of immortality. Its form is a question mark burned into the fabric of the night, a mystery that doesn't ask for an answer, only for quiet contemplation. Its curse is not just its transformation, but its eternal, silent visibility. So if one night, on a dark and lonely road, you see a fire where a face should be, do not follow it. Do not call out to it. This is not a creature to be challenged or engaged with. It is a force of nature, a piece of ancient lore walking through the modern world. Your role is not to interact, but to witness. Simply let it pass. Acknowledge the story it carries, feel the weight of its history, and then let it continue on its solitary journey. Let the silence and the fire move on, back into the fog from which they came. Thank you for watching. If you're fascinated by the world's hidden stories, be sure to subscribe for more journeys into the unknown.